Mysteries and Mimosas. My name is Max, and I am here with Arya. It is another wonderful Monday. The springtime is in the air. It's warming up, and I turned on the sprinklers and started the lawn.
Yes, you did. We spent a ton of time outside today. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was really nice. Man, let's get into this one. I don't even know where to start today. I'm just in a good mood from all the spring weather. I guess it's important to mention that this is the Mystery Monday, and as always, it is a shorter episode because we want to get the information out there. So please visit us on Instagram at Mysteries and Mimosas Podcast. You can visit us on Facebook also, and still waiting for listeners to join the Discord server. If you don't know how to do it, I'm not your guy to tell you, but the server's name is Mimosa Max, which I think is cool.
Somebody please join his Discord. He's so sad about it.
Yeah.
He has like one follower on there.
Yeah, it's all good. It's a good follower. It's a good discussion. One-on-one with Max. That's what it is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Today's case comes to us from Ellerslie, Georgia. 93 miles southwest of Atlanta, Georgia, lies the small town of Ellerslie. Not a lot happens in Ellerslie, Georgia. In 2019, a mild to mediocre tornado ripped through the town, damaging a few trees and a couple roofs of some houses. Caused no injuries, no fatalities.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
That's always good.
But that's exciting news for Ellerslie, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I've never heard of Ellerslie. So
Yeah. Well, it's 90 miles southwest of Atlanta.
Yeah, I
Have
know
you heard
that
of
now.
Atlanta?
Yes.
Okay. According to the 2020 census, Ellerslie is home to 1,053 people. The most notable thing to ever happen in Ellerslie is not this ferocious tornado. It's a haunted house dating back to 1989. 89. You were 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there's an Unsolved Mysteries episode on this house. If you're interested, you can tune into Unsolved Mysteries, Season 7, Episode 4. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm excited to hear this.
Okay, the story goes, a couple purchased their first home in Ellerslie with their young daughter. Her name is Heidi. Soon after moving in, Heidi apparently befriended a man by the name of Mr. Gordy. Some people might have already heard of this. Heidi told her parents Mr. Gordy is an elderly male with gray hair who wears a suit and tie and shiny black shoes. Yeah, kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Obviously, this was unsettling for Heidi's parents for obvious reasons. Obviously.
Obvi.
Eventually, Heidi's parents saw Heidi playing with her imaginary friend on the swing set, talking to herself, holding hands with some imaginary person. And so Heidi's parents just kind of thought perhaps Heidi was simply talking to an imaginary friend, so they just dismissed their concerns for Mr. Gordy.
Okay, understandable.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it is kind of creepy if you have a daughter that's telling you she's friends with an elderly man and you don't ever see him. Yeah, that would be creepy. So,
Well, I guess, but kids have imaginary friends.
right, that's what I was saying. And then, there must be some sense of relief when they're like, oh, well,
Yeah.
this is nothing.
It's not really some old man hanging out in my backyard with my kid.
Yeah, perhaps not.
Right.
Perhaps. We'll see.
Okay.
So one day, Heidi told her mom about another man by the name of Con, like a con artist.
Okay.
Apparently, Heidi spoke with Con at the front door of their house and asked her mom if she can go outside to play with him.
Okay, now that's creepy.
That's
if
really
she's like,
creepy.
he's at the front door. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah, no, go ahead. Go play with this unknown man. Sure.
Named Con.
Yeah, Con gives me pedo vibes. So Heidi told her mom Con had a bloody hand and a bloody shirt.
Yikes.
And she's asking, can I go play? Heidi might not be the best judge of character.
Right. Like, what you would think, though, I don't know how old Heidi was at the time, but that'd be scary.
Maybe.
I mean, I would be scared if there was a man at my front door with a bloody hand and a bloody shirt asking me to go play.
Sure. Well, maybe he came from Florida, from
Nub
what was it?
City.
Nub City. Could have came from Nub
Maybe.
City.
Okay.
Anyway. So yeah, there's a man at the door, bloody hand, bloody shirt. Heidi says, "Can I go play?" Even more concerned, Heidi's mom rushed to the front door, found nobody there. So she locked all the doors in the house thinking somebody was trying to kidnap Heidi. So she has now concerns.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I would too.
So, in fact, Heidi's mom was so concerned she called her husband home from work, who came home and searched the area, but he found no one. So, things got a little bit spookier when Heidi's mom discovered their home once belonged to a real estate agent from the neighboring town of Columbus, Georgia, by the name of James S. Gordy, who passed away in 1974.
Mr. Gordy.
Mr. Gordy. Yeah, creepy.
Yeah, very. He passed away in 1974 or in 1989. Creepy.
Creepier, Heidi's description of Mr. Gordy matched the description of real estate agent James Gordy. Mm-hmm. Heidi's family did a little bit more digging and learned the house next door was once owned by a woman named Catherine Ledford, and Catherine had an uncle by the name of...
Can I guess?
You can guess.
Con.
It's Con Bachelor.
Okay.
Yeah, so Con. Even more bizarre, it was later revealed Con had once injured his hand in a cotton gin accident.
The bloody hand.
Yeah. Con Bachelor passed away in 1957. For those of you that don't know what cotton gin is, it's a machine that separates the cotton from the seed, referred to as cotton gin, which is short for cotton engine. Pretty cool.
Thank you for that. I don't know, though. I don't know. I think maybe you're the only person that didn't know what a cotton gin was. Or maybe because I'm from the South, I knew what a cotton gin was.
I mean, I assumed it was something to do with,
harvesting
cotton. But I'd never heard of the term till I Googled it, and that's what it is. It's short for cotton engine.
I did not know it was short for cotton engine, so
that makes sense.
I did learn something, yeah.
Hold on a minute. Yep, it adds up. Gin, engine. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I like it.
They just shortened it. That's all.
Not only did Heidi's description of Mr. Gordy match that of the late James Gordy, but Heidi's description of Con matched an old photograph of Con Bachelor.
Creepy.
Mm-hmm. So, although the family believed Heidi was seeing spirits, nobody was too concerned because none of the spirits seemed to have any ill intentions toward Heidi or her family. However, Heidi's mom soon became pregnant with the family's second child, which seemed to change the overall disposition in the home. Heidi began seeing an ominous spirit lurking in the hallway, which Heidi described as a shadowy figure with no features. Heidi told her parents she was afraid of this particular spirit. In addition to Heidi's ghostly interactions, the family became concerned when they started experiencing strange phenomena in the house.
Like what?
Well, apparently the family witnessed strange noises, they saw items flying across the house, and they even experienced physical attacks. For example, one morning Heidi woke up with scratches across her face. In another incident, Heidi's father experienced 3 deep gashes on the side of his body.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yikes indeed.
That's scary.
It is scary. So these attacks that they experienced prompted the family to move from their home. However, whatever entity was in their home apparently followed the family into their new home, and the attacks became worse.
So maybe, or obviously, it wasn't the house to begin with. I think it's Heidi.
Obvi.
Yeah.
Yeah, on one occasion, Heidi was lifted by her feet into the air. In fact, the paranormal activity followed Heidi into adulthood. So this incident was so bizarre, several documentaries were made about this, including the movie Haunting in Connecticut 2: Ghosts of Georgia.
Interesting. The movie's called Haunting in Connecticut, but Ghosts of Georgia. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what it says on online, on the line right here. Google it.
No, I believe you.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's an interesting title because Connecticut and Georgia are far apart.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's yeah, I don't think I've seen either one of the Haunting in Connecticut, so maybe it's just a spinoff.
So.
Somebody might be able to tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you know, hit us up, mysteriesandmimosas.net. By the way, this is not what today's story is about, but it's just a ghost story. It's the most notable thing that happened in Ellerslie, Georgia. But what I think is weird is that the spirits became bad or worse or, mean or whatever after the mom became pregnant, almost like it wanted to keep, Heidi to themselves. Or it could be that Heidi just became jealous and she she had something going on and she can
Uh,
control. I don't know.
I don't know.
I
I
don't know
don't
how
know.
any of that stuff works.
Neither. No idea.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the whole thing is strange, but I mean, if that's all true, she would have had no way of knowing about
Gordy?
Mr. Gordy or Khan and their pictures from
Sure.
1957 and
Hmm.
1974. So, yeah, I mean, I would think it's real.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
mean,
I don't know. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know.
you know what? It's real enough for this podcast.
Yes.
But I'm gonna tell you right now. I always look when we're researching stories, and I put some of them on our bucket list. This ghost story, I don't think so. For that reason, I'm out.
Like you don't want to
No,
go
I don't
see
want to
this
go there.
place?
I have no interest in going to Ellsworth,
No, no, Ellerslie.
Ellerslie, or Ellsworth.
Yeah, wherever that's
Either
at.
one. I don't. That's how much I don't want to go there. I got it wrong. What about you? Do you want to go see this ghost house, this haunted house in Ellerslie?
I mean, if I was in the area, I would drive by that house, but I wouldn't make like a special trip over
Oh
there
yeah,
to
yeah. That's a
Ellerslie.
good point.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever find ourselves in the area. Maybe we'll retire there. You never know.
I don't think I'm gonna retire in Ellerslie, Georgia, but I don't know, maybe I will.
You never know. All right, let's talk about Christopher Carlton Thompkins. Born on December 28th of 1981, Christopher was a happy, outgoing, and hard-working young man. At the time of his disappearance, which was on January 25th of 2002, Christopher was living with his mother in Ellerslie. That day, Christopher rode to work with one of his coworkers. Arriving at the job site at 8 a.m., the four-man work crew, including Christopher, was working in a wooded area in Harris County near the county line road. So Christopher worked on a survey crew, and he and three other surveyors were working in a line formation approximately 50 feet apart from one another. Everything seemed fine. The men worked through the morning, took a lunch break, and resumed working around 1:30 p.m. One of the surveyors was in the middle of a conversation with Christopher when his attention was diverted to something else momentarily. When the coworker looked back, Christopher was missing. Christopher's tools were still on the ground where he was last seen working, but Christopher was nowhere to be found.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Like they're having a conversation and then he's just gone.
Yeah, he looks away for a minute, and then when he looks back, Christopher's not there.
Hmm. Okay.
Because nobody saw or heard anything strange, Christopher's coworkers thought perhaps he went into the woods to relieve himself, but after several minutes, Christopher hadn't returned. So the men began to search the immediate area where Christopher was last seen, but they found nothing.
Hmm.
One of the surveyors even called his own wife to tell her that Christopher was missing, but Christopher's mom wasn't notified about this until 4:30 that evening. So 3 hours.
It's 3 hours, yeah.
Yeah,
And 3 hours since, you know, lunchtime, so it probably was even less time since the time he had actually gone missing, but
sure.
yeah.
Which I don't think is necessarily unreasonable considering he's an adult. He's 20 years old at the time of this disappearance. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think that's strange at all that 3 hours
yeah,
had
and
passed.
here's the other thing is I just think about it. If I'm at work and then one of my coworkers just disappears, I mean, I know my profession's quite different than a surveyor, but I wouldn't think to call anybody's mom ever.
Right.
I don't, that's just me.
Yeah.
Soon after, Christopher Tompkins was officially reported missing to law enforcement, and the search expanded, at which point one of Christopher's work boots was found hanging from the top of a barbed wire fence in the area where he was last seen.
So only one boot was found. Interesting. Okay.
On that same barbed wire fence, a blue thread was also found, which was presumed to be from Christopher's pants because the thread color matched the color of his pants.
Hmm.
So, I mean, maybe he went through the fence there? But why is
Yeah.
his boot on
Yeah.
top of the fence? It doesn't
That's
make
the
any
weird part.
sense.
Like I can get if you're climbing over barbed wire and your pants get snagged. I mean, that's happened to me before and it tears or something. But your boot hanging from the top, that's weird.
Yeah. Additionally, coins were found on the ground nearby, which were believed to be Christopher's coins.
Hmm.
Police found no signs of foul play, such as any type of blood evidence or any type of indication that there was a struggle, So the investigation came to a standstill due to the lack of information and evidence. So pretty quickly, police had nothing to go on.
Hmm.
However, 6 months later, a farmer found Christopher's other work boot on private property less than a mile away.
Okay.
6 months later, so in July.
Huh. Less than a mile away. It's interesting that the police didn't find it if they were searching in that area, but maybe because it was on private property and they
Yeah, that's
didn't.
my guess.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. During the search, police searched several ponds nearby and even used cadaver dogs, but Christopher was never found. In fact, nothing else belonging to Christopher was ever found. Apparently, the coworkers have never been questioned as suspects in this case. And even though they were never listed as suspects in Christopher's disappearance, one of the coworkers immediately retained a lawyer.
Okay. So, I don't know. These are the guys to last see him in the woods, and all of a sudden he's gone, but his boots are there. His coins are there. Pieces of his clothing are on the barbed wire. And then do you think it's suspicious that one of the coworkers goes and immediately retains a lawyer?
I think it's weird if you're retaining a lawyer in order to preemptively be questioned by police when you're not even listed as a suspect. I do think it's weird. I don't think it is like a strong indicator of guilt, though, because maybe, that person saw the writing on the wall and thought, oh, I'm the last person to see him alive. And maybe, the lawyer might be a, friend or a, a family member or something. I don't know. I don't think that anytime you hire a lawyer, it doesn't indicate guilt. Most people automatically think, oh, well, he hired a lawyer right away. He's got to be guilty. He's hiding something. No, I think anybody suspected of any crime should always consult with a lawyer before ever talking to the police.
But they were never even listed as suspects or questioned as suspects.
Correct. So that's the only thing that I think is weird.
I kind of think I don't know. I think it's interesting the police never did question them as suspects. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, we don't know the whole situation. I don't know exactly what it looks like where they were. Like, was this a heavily wooded area? I mean, if it was like, I don't know what kind of wild animals there that would attack a person in those woods, but like, they would have definitely heard that if that were the case.
Oh, sure.
Or if there was like, if he did go to relieve himself and there was some kind of accident, I mean, for one, they would have heard something, and two, they would have found him there.
Sure.
If, like, he fell or something. But he's never been found.
He's never been found.
But his boots were there. So if he walked off, then he's walking around with no shoes on in the woods. That's weird.
Yeah, and I don't know I've never been to Georgia in in January, but I would think it's still cold. Like, he wouldn't just leave his boots behind, right?
Yeah, I mean, it can be, I think. This is south of Atlanta, but I mean, not like freezing cold, but probably chilly. But I mean, for me, it's not even the temperature thing, but I don't want to walk around the woods where there's sticks and like who knows what else without my shoes on.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. And the weird thing too is that the boots weren't even found together. So he's crossing over a fence and loses a boot. It gets hung up on the barbed wire and he just keeps walking with one boot on. And then the other one is found like, I don't know, less than a mile away on private property. I mean, did an animal grab it and move it? Maybe. I don't know. That whole thing just seems weird. And I guess if the boot would have been, I mean, they would have found the boot there. You know what I mean? That day. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the whole thing is weird, but according to Christopher's mom, it's her belief that Christopher's coworkers either had something to do with Christopher's disappearance or they might know more than what they've reported. So one more interesting piece of information to consider in this case, Christopher's mom was a babysitter for Christopher's boss, and according to Christopher's boss, he believes that Christopher was acting strangely in the days leading up to his disappearance, but Christopher's mom has refuted this assertion, saying that Christopher's behavior was completely normal.
I'd be interested in what his boss means by he was acting strangely. Like, what was he doing that was so out of character?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it is weird. I mean, I guess the police have essentially just chalked this up to he must have left on his own accord and he's just decided to start a new life. I don't necessarily believe that. I think there's something, when people suddenly disappear it, under suspicious circumstances like this, I don't think nothing adds up to him going to start a new life and running off with his, like in the middle of the day. What makes sense to me is yes, the coworkers are suspicious because if you think about it, when you go to work, you show up at 8 a.m. Maybe something happened in the car ride where you had a disagreement or you weren't getting along, but the morning time is when you're working. You're 50 yards apart from each other, 50 feet apart from each other. You're probably not having a whole lot of interaction. So you take a lunch break. What do you do on lunch break?
You'll sit with your coworkers and
Yeah, sit with
yeah.
your coworkers. That's you build relationships, you talk. Maybe something happened during that lunch break that caused them to do something to Christopher, or one of them to do something with Christopher. And then that's why I think it was reported like right immediately after lunch. Or they said that's the last time they saw him. Like it's just so coincidental that right immediately after lunch at 1:30 when they went back to work, that's when this happens.
Yeah, I wonder about that time frame. Like again, there's so many what ifs and so many questions because we just don't know, but if indeed something happened after lunch and I don't know, they got into an argument or something happened to Christopher after lunch, then they would have only had very minimal time to take Christopher somewhere, and his body's never been found or anything, if that's what happened. So it's not like they had a ton of time, you know what I mean? Versus if something did happen in the morning, that would give them a little bit more time to come up with this story and take care of things, stage the boots, stage the fabric on the barbed wire. I don't know. I'm not saying that's what happened, but
Right. I'd like to know, how good of an interview, how in depth of an interview did they do with the wife that was phoned from one of the coworkers, and what did she say? And did they, do a good enough interview with her to, cross check it with what he's reporting to her?
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I also had a question on that. So this is 2002, and it sounds like they're kind of in the middle of nowhere out in the woods. I don't know that they would have service even if they did have cell phones back then. But if they didn't, I mean, did they leave and drive somewhere and use a payphone to call her? I would be curious to know where that call came from. Because if you're concerned enough to leave the work site to drive to a payphone to call your wife, why are you not calling law enforcement at that time?
Correct.
So I don't know. That whole thing kind of baffles me a little bit. But again, I don't know for sure
And
how
and
that call
let's
was made.
right, and assuming that they had cell phones and he made the call to his wife from a cell phone, wouldn't you also call the boss? I mean, there's no information anywhere on the internet about whether or not the boss received a phone call, but if Christopher works for him, shouldn't that be the first person you call? Like, hey, man, he's gone. We need another person out here to help.
Yeah, and maybe they did. I don't know. Yeah, there's nothing that says they did or they didn't. But I mean, he wasn't reported to law enforcement. It doesn't sound like until his mom was informed later that afternoon. So I'm wondering if his mom is the one that even went to law enforcement and not them.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that, his mom has a whole lot more information. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, she suspects these coworkers to,
Yeah,
have nefarious intentions or
or at least have
acts.
more information. I would love to talk to her actually, because I just have so many questions on this one.
Yeah,
It's just weird.
it is so weird. I mean, just out of nowhere, just up and disappears.
I would like to know what his relationship was like with those coworkers that he was with. I mean, was there any kind of, I don't know, did he owe them money? Did they owe each other money? Was there anything like that that was going on that would cause like an argument or I don't know. It's all conjecture. I don't obviously have any information, but it just makes me wonder like
Yeah,
somebody doesn't just disappear into thin air, right? We always say that, but they're not just one minute because literally it says they're in the middle of a conversation. He turns his head from seconds, is what the article said, and by the time he turns back, Christopher's far enough away that he can't see him or hear him anymore within just those matter of seconds. And they say, yeah, we waited a few minutes because we thought maybe he went to relieve himself. Even so, somebody's not going to go far enough in a couple of minutes without shoes on that you're not going to be able to find them in that radius, I wouldn't think, or call for him. I don't know. The whole thing just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. The thing that makes most sense is that these coworkers knew something. I think that his mom probably has a pretty good intuition behind it. I don't know. Maybe they're completely innocent and he did just run off and something happened to him when he was running off. Maybe he got in an argument with them and just said, you know what, screw this, I'm out. I don't want, I quit.
Yeah.
And got lost in the woods. I don't know how heavily wooded the area is, but maybe he said, you know what, I quit. And he had no ride because he carpooled there.
Right.
So he had no ride, and he's not going to wait around for the coworker to get off to give him another ride. And like you said, maybe he didn't have a cell phone. And so he starts walking and gets lost. But it doesn't really explain his boot being on the fence.
Right. Or them never finding him, even with cadaver dogs. But, anything's possible, right? That could have happened. He could have just walked off and something nefarious happened to him after he left the area. That's always a possibility too. Somebody's passing by and hits him. Maybe he's on the road. They don't see him. They hit him. They get scared. I don't know. There's like a million possibilities, I guess, but
yeah, there are a lot of possibilities out there. So if you have any information about the disappearance of Christopher Carlton Thompkins, please contact the Georgia Bureau of Investigations at 706-665-5842. And I guess we should mention that they're not actively doing an investigation into this as of now because there's just no leads to go on, a lack of information, no evidence. And so really what they're going to be relying on to reignite this are tips from anybody that might know something. So again, that number is 706-665-5842.
Yeah, please, if you know of anything, reach out, whether you think it's insignificant or not. I feel really bad for his mom. As a mom, like, you see your kid, they go to work, and then you never see them again. And not only that, but you have no answers as to what happened to him.
Correct.
So anyway, my heart goes out to her, and I really, really hope that this podcast lands on the ears of whoever it is that has some information, and it weighs on their heart, and they come forward, and you can remain anonymous,
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. I just hope there's resolution.
I do too, especially for Christopher's family. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of Mystery Monday, Mysteries and Mimosas. Please visit us on our website, mysteriesandmimosas.net. You can leave a tip there if you have a tip. You can also leave a tip in our Discord server, which I'm very proud of. Yeah. That's a young man's game, Discord. And I'm in it.
You're in it with one follower.
So how many followers do you have on your Discord?
I don't have a Discord.
Exactly.
Right.
So how are you going to talk trash about me with my one follower?
Hey. You're getting so defensive. I wasn't talking trash. I was just saying, I was just spitting facts, sir, that you have one follower.
Okay, that's fair. But you have more room to talk when you have 2 followers.
True.
And
or
even
actually,
a Discord
if I just have
server.
One. Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's your homework.
I bet you if I got a Discord server, I would have 2 followers by next episode. By next week. Okay, not next episode. Next week.
Let's see. And you can't steal mine.
No, I don't want your listener.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Well, you know what? We talk about all kinds of fun things in my Discord server, and you're not invited.
Okay.
So
well, I'll get my own.
Put that airhead back in the box, by the way.
No, I won't.
All right. Until next time, thank you for listening. Oh, before we go, don't forget to log in, or not log in, just go to dragonglassware.com, and that's where we get our glassware, where we drink our mimosas, and you'll have a fresh mimosa recipe on Wednesday, every Wednesday, that we drink out of Dragon Glassware. And you can get 10% off by just entering the promo code Mysteries and Mimosas Podcast. And as usual, please click like, give us a good rating, and tell your friends about us so that we can continue to do this. And one last thing, we have decided to switch it up a little bit. So from now on, we're doing Mystery Monday on Monday, as usual. And our weekly episode will now be on Thursday instead of Wednesday. So look for us on Thursday. Looking forward to it. See you then.
Cheers.
Cheers.